Welcome to the party. Thank you for coming back to the channel. Today you're in for a very awesome treat. We're going to be making apple, cinnamon, raisin bread. And the recipe you'll need for this, step one, chop up your apples. So then I'll get into the rest of the ingredients. You want to take a lemon first. I like to slice off the ends, cut it in half. Again, these are Cutco knives. Ooh, look at that nasty little black part of the lemon. So we're going to cut that out first. Remove that. And then take you a little lemon juice squeezer outer. And I want to prep my bowl by putting lemon juice in there first. And what that'll do is help to slow down the oxidation of the apples. Once we cut them, they immediately start to oxidize, but if you put some lemon juice in there, that'll slow that down a lot. And then, of course, these are PinkLady. The recipe called for HoneyCrisp, but the PinkLadies I think are a little bit better. So organic, definitely want to make sure you have organic apples. Hi, Evelyn. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Come here, let's say hi. And the reason you want to have organic apples is because apples are on the Dirty Dozen. So if you're not familiar with the Dirty Dozen, you want to probably, oh, she's going to eat some crayons. Hopefully those are organic too. Thank you. Anytime you have a Dirty Dozen, you want to make sure that it's an organic, and then the Clean 15 are some that where you want to eat some apples. She loves some apples. So yeah, she can have just a little piece here. There you go. There you go. That's the sign language for more, and so she does it like this, but we know what she means, and this is please, so she'll say more, please. Yummy. Thank you, Daddy. And so once you, I like to split the apples up with this little tool here. You can get one of these on Amazon. I'll link it in the description. Then once you get these, I like to take these pieces and cut them in half. Or thirds, half's a little bit easier. But once you cut them in half, then you can very easily, and I'll get closer, take your knife, again, highly recommend a Cutco knife, and you can very quickly and easily remove the peels. Do you have to remove the peels? Yeah, you do. Is it a pain? Yes, it kind of is. And then normally I will just eat these as I'm cutting them, but I'm doing intermittent fasting, which I'm going to do a video about next. And I'm not eating anything until, or drinking anything but water or herbal tea, which I know is not raw, okay? Herbal tea is not raw because you heat the water up. I don't need people to tell me every single thing that's raw and not raw. Thank you very much. But I drink tea and water until noon, and then I eat from noon till 6 p.m., and then I fast from 6 until noon the next day. I've been doing that for almost, well, no, just over a month now. I think like almost 40 days. So anyway, we're going to do this to 3 apples, and then we are going to dehydrate these 3 apples for a few hours. I can't remember exactly how long. I have to ask my mom, who's going to be coming in later on this afternoon to help with the rest of this recipe. She's the apple, cinnamon, raisin bread master. And this is her recipe that she basically stole from somebody else online, changed up a bunch of parts, added in some different ingredients, and now I'm saying it's her recipe. So, and we'll give credit obviously to the original recipe also. All right, 1 apple done, and now so I'm going to take this other Cutco knife. I really like this one. It's nice to have a whole variety of knives. So we got this big, huge Cutco knife block. I highly recommend it. I'll put a link in the description below. But that way you have a knife for every occasion. So once you get these all cut up in this amount, I'll basically take them and I'll put them half on one side, half on the other. Kind of like this, split them up. And then you're just gonna dice them. You don't want them necessarily minced, but you want them pretty small. So I'll just take them like this and just basically start cutting them like that. They don't have to be perfect. I think the last time I did it, my mom was like, wow, you're getting them very, very, perfect. And they don't need to be. So once they get down to about this size here, you can just throw them in the lemon juice. And That way, again, it slows down the oxidation. And then just rinse and repeat with the other 2 apples. Again, we got to do this with 3 apples. There we have it, all chopped up, spread out. Again, 3 organic pink ladies with 1 lemon squeezed for lemon juice. And I'm going to throw, and also I meant to mention that the lemon juice does not just limit and prevent oxidation. It also does something to enhance and increase the flavor a lot when you dehydrate, not just apples, but pretty much any fruit. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the dehydrator for, I don't know, we'll see. I'll ask Mom when she wakes up, and then we'll get back to the recipe later on. Thank you for watching. Welcome back to the channel. This is my mom, Kathy Udy. Mom, go ahead and do your intro.
Hi, I'm Kathy Udy.
I accidentally...
I'm going to make some delicious...
Yeah, what's it called?
Apple cinnamon bread, raw.
Apple cinnamon bread. I think I redubbed it apple cinnamon raisin bread, but I left these in for way too long, 2 hours. I guess you're only supposed to dehydrate them for about 30 minutes. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference at all, but technically 30 minutes, and so I pulled them out, put them in the fridge in a bowl. But I'm going to put all the ingredients for this recipe in the description below, so you don't have to write anything down. That'll all be provided for you. Just copy and paste. Starting off, we're going to take 2.5 cups of rolled oats. Is that correct, Mom?
Yes. This original recipe is from Amanda Nicole Smith, and we've altered it a little bit, and we're making it the way we like it.
Yeah. So are these raw?
Those are.
Yeah, they are raw?
They're organic, raw oats.
Raw organic oats. Okay.
2.5 cups.
And oats, I don't know. They're not something I eat a lot of or very regularly, but they definitely make this bread worth having. So 2.5 cups of those. We're going to turn those into like a flour, basically.
Yes.
Good?
That's good.
Okay. It doesn't take long. We're going to put that in our mixing bowl. And then we're going to take 1.25 cup of walnuts.
That have already been...
Pre-soaked and activated.
Yes.
Oop. Minus a couple. Oops. And put those, and these are going into like a flour as well.
Okay.
That's good? Maybe a little more?
Just a tiny bit. These chunks of walnuts are not going to hurt anything.
Okay. Well, that is a little buttery.
Yeah.
Oh well. Be careful you don't turn it into walnut butter.
But it's not going to destroy your recipe if you do. So.
Yeah, was this the recipe that said it would actually be better if it was?
No, it just said it makes the bread denser. And,
denser. So if you like a denser bread, you can go ahead and turn your walnuts into more of a walnut butter. All right, and then next, what are we doing next?
Well, we need to grind up. Okay, let's
Flaxseed?
do the prunes next.
Okay.
We're not doing the flaxseed next because you don't want to add it until you're ready to mix it up, because the flaxseed will make it bind up and be harder to mix in other ingredients if you add that first.
So you want to put your flaxseed in last, which is something I tried to say in my cracker video, but basically forgot. Mom pointed that out. So we've got this food processor attachment for the Vitamix, and now we're gonna add in, how many prunes is this, or how much?
That's a half cup of prunes.
Half cup of prunes. Mom's been soaking them for a while, so do we need to?
They've been in our fridge for a couple of years, so I think we need to just soak them. 3 tablespoons of water, and I use the soap water because it's
So
got some of
we
the
take the water out first, put it in here,
Yeah.
and then drain these off and put the prunes in. Okay, so 3 tablespoons of soaked water. This is a huge food processor, so if you have a smaller one than this, which I do, then I would recommend using it. The reason we're not is this is the one I got out. So now I'm just going to drain off the excess water. So all we have left is, what was it, a half a cup?
half cup of prunes.
Half
yes.
a cup, which of course after you soak them looks like a lot more than half a cup because they do kind of expand. Then we're just going to put our little lid on here, and how far do we go with these?
Well, you try to turn them into a paste. But,
Okay.
That food processor's done a better job than any of my equipment that I've used to make that.
This is a really good food processor. Do we have that spatula? I probably put it away, didn't I? Put it in the sink or something. Let me see. I got another one probably.
No, it's not over here.
Okay. I don't know where I put it. It's probably somewhere right in front of me. So now we'll just kind of knock these back down into
here
the.
it is.
Oh yeah. Left it inside of my Vitamix. So we'll just kind of knock these down. The prunes are what is the primary sweetener. We're also going to use
A quarter cup of coconut nectar.
Coconut nectar.
Whatever you want.
Which you could probably sub that out for what?
Agave.
Agave nectar or date syrup or something like that if you wanted
Yeah.
to.
And
I'd
I'm
say
sure
that's pretty
that's
tasty.
good, that
Yeah,
is.
this is pretty
And
good.
I'm sure that the prunes can be substituted out too for dates.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's something about the prune
Pruny taste, yeah.
flavor with
Sets
the
it off.
apples that is supposed to be extraordinary.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is. So here we go. We've got that kind of smashed up into a paste, and we're going to put this right into the mixing bowl, right?
Right.
Okay. Mom's recipes, they always sound really difficult until I make them myself, and then I'm like, oh, that was easy. Like, I think she likes making them sound a lot harder, and then when we do them, they're really actually very easy.
I just like him to be very impressed when I make him something.
Yeah, I am, but usually not with the process, more the taste. So, okay, that's
Okay,
we
then
got it.
let's add the quarter cup of coconut nectar.
Okay, so
Next.
coconut syrup, coconut nectar, or any other kind of sweetener that you're hip to, and we got a quarter cup here. We're gonna just go ahead and
I found this coconut nectar has a really different flavor to it. It's really, I like it a lot. It's not as sweet as agave nectar, and it just has a flavor to it that's very distinct.
okay, there you go.
And you can lick that
Oops,
off
no
the
thanks.
counter. So.
I'm still fasting for another
Oh.
15 minutes.
Oh,
So.
damn it.
Okay, you gotta watch your language. We're
Oh,
not-
sorry.
Okay. Next is what?
Well, it calls for a half a cup of coconut milk, but I do not have coconut milk, and that's the kind that you drink, not the kind that comes in a can. So I use a half cup of water, or if you want to substitute almond milk, you
Let's
can
make
do
some
that
almond
too.
milk real quick because we've got a little bit of walnuts in there, so it's a half a cup. Is that right?
Yep, half a cup.
So we'll go half a cup of water real quick. And you want to make sure you got some pure water, some good water. We have well water, so I'm assuming that's really good. At least it's not chlorinated and fluoridated. How many almonds do you think you're going to need for
I
this?
think you probably put about 6 in there.
Okay, I'm going to grab 6 almonds, and then I'm going to grab a flaxseed. Alright, so I've got my flaxseed here, which I got these big containers with my nuts in them. I don't know if you guys can see those or not. It might have been off camera. But what I'll do is I'll buy them in bulk, and then I'll soak them, dehydrate them, and then put them in the freezer. So Mom said 6 almonds in a half a cup of water will make some almond milk. So we're
We'll
just
see.
gonna get that. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe 8.
Looks white enough,
Yeah.
especially since you can use water if you want.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Looks like almond milk.
Yep.
Looks pretty good. Plus, it kind of rinsed off a lot of that walnut
So we got
nastiness. So it's walnut almond.
almond.
So a half a cup of that. We're putting that in right now.
Okay.
And then what else we got?
Now we need 2 teaspoons of cinnamon.
Okay.
Or more. I put more.
We'll do, yeah, it calls for 2 teaspoons. Mom says she goes more, so what we're going to do is just go heaping. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we'll do like 2 heaping teaspoons of cinnamon, which is quite a bit of cinnamon, but Mom and I like cinnamon.
And then you can put the apples in there, about 2/3 of that apple. Those apples, the rest we save for the topping.
2/3, okay. So it's, well, that's hard to guess.
Well, it doesn't have to be
Maybe is that about
accurate.
1/3 maybe? Ish?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, so that's about 1/3. So we'll take the other 2/3, we'll dump them in. Do we want to do some nutmeg? Cardamom?
Oh yes, we do add a few extra.
All right, we're doing some cardamom. This is probably half a teaspoon about. We're out, we need to order more of this. This is an additional ingredient that Mom decided to add in, and then we're also going to add in some organic nutmeg, and we're just going to do half a teaspoon. Is that right? Or did you want to do a full teaspoon?
No. Half
a teaspoon of nutmeg?
lot.
Okay. So we'll just do about a half a teaspoon of nutmeg in here, which anytime we do cinnamon, at least anytime I have a recipe that calls for cinnamon, oftentimes I will spike it. If it doesn't already call for the nutmeg, I'll put it in there. And so now we're going to do half of a teaspoon of salt.
That's correct.
This is pink Himalayan. You can use any kind of salt you want, or if you're anti-salt, you could leave it out, but it's probably going to suck. So half a teaspoon of salt. What else?
That's it, except
That's
for the
it?
flaxseed.
Okay.
And so we should mix this up a little bit.
All right, you go ahead and mix that up, and I'm going to talk about the flaxseed. So you can grind your flaxseed in a number of different ways. I like to use this coffee bean grinder because one, you can use a lot less, and it's easy to get it out of there. And you can see from making flaxseed crackers, it's already in there. But you can buy one of these at pretty much anywhere, and this is just a little Hamilton Beach one. I've been using it for a long time. Before this, I used it for coffee. So again, flax seeds is something I have a bunch of all the time and kind of keep them stored in the freezer just for stuff like this. And when I get low, like I am kind of low right now, I'll go ahead and order more and just fill this thing up because we go through quite a few. How many flax seeds do we do?
Half cup.
A half a cup. So this is a little wet. I'm going to dry it out real quick. And again, the reason we don't add the flax seeds until the end is because it does kind of bind up the other ingredients. So
Definitely.
measure out half a cup. I don't know if this is even going to fit in here. Oh yeah, barely. So this holds about a half a cup. And then I like to shake this thing up while I'm grinding it to kind of keep it consistently ground into like a flour. And this is another one you got to be really careful because it'll turn this stuff into butter really, really quickly. So this is already a very fine powder, ready to go. Just dump it in.
Yep.
Okay.
Now
Dump it
mix
in.
it all up and we form it into a loaf. And do you have parchment paper?
Oh, good question. You mix that. I'll check to see if I have parchment paper. I think we do.
This gets pretty stiff at this point.
Is it different than wax paper? It is, huh?
Well, it doesn't matter. Wax paper will work.
I think now that might be what we got. I'll check here.
I just use it to form the loaf.
To form the loaf?
Yeah.
Oh, the paper?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We've got some parchment paper here. Brand new.
You want to mix this a little bit because it's very stiff.
Yes.
in this.
Let me get a wooden spoon.
Yeah, that's easier probably.
This is a bad time to be cooking this bread because I'm 7 minutes away from being able to break my fast, and I'm getting hangry. Not really, but I'm going to break it with a lemon ginger blast. I've got almost a liter of lemon ginger blast ready to go. That's pretty much how I break my fast every single day, at least for the last. Yeah, it is. Is that okay?
Yeah. And that's
This
enough.
is good enough, right? Okay, so once you get it kind of mixed up pretty good, not completely, you go ahead and just kind of flop it onto the parchment paper, right, Mom?
Yeah.
Okay, and then You want to lick the spoon?
I don't.
Just kidding. I don't do. Well, I kind of do, but I've got 7 minutes. So I can't imagine it would taste as good non-dehydrated than otherwise. So once you get it all out of your bowl, then you use the paper.
I do anyway.
This is Mom's trick, another one of Mom's secret tricks here. Use the paper to kind of form it into a loaf. And so the loaf is typically about, 8 inches long or so, wouldn't you say? About 8 to 9 inches long.
Yeah.
Only about 3 to 4 inches tall, and of course about 3 to 4 inches wide. And it doesn't really matter exactly how you get it, but the more close to like a square shape, the better, because what we're going to do after we form it is
I washed my hands.
She washed her hands, so we're good. But we're gonna put it in the dehydrator for, what is it, an hour?
Yes.
1 hour on, is it 165 or 135?
Yes. 165.
Basically 165 degrees, which I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's gonna kill my food, but it doesn't, because it really only affects the outside crust, and it will kill that, but oh well.
And that's what it's doing, is forming a crust on the outside.
It's designed to form the crust, and so once you get that 1 hour at 165, we're gonna slice it up, put the topping on, and
each slice we do that?
yeah, we put the topping on each individual slice. I think the last one we did, we had 9 slices or 10 slices or something like that?
Yeah.
So we sliced them fairly thin, and we did that intentionally. The thinner you slice them, the faster they will be ready to eat, basically. After you slice them up and put the topping on, how long do you need to dehydrate them for again? Keep checking on that. I'm going to get this in a little bit more of a square shape. 1 to 2 hours. So yeah, the thinner it is, the closer it'll be to 1 hour. The thicker slices that you make, the longer, the closer to 2 hours it'll be. So this is basically the shape that you want it-ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll just throw that whole thing in the dehydrator for an hour. Okay, so now we're going to make the topping. We're going to take a tablespoon of coconut oil that's not really that liquidy, so we're going to just put it inside with the apples, and then we're going to put it in the dehydrator when we're done for about 5 or 10 minutes to kind of warm it up, and it'll liquefy in there. And then we put in, how much sugar?
A tablespoon.
1 tablespoon of coconut sugar, which I'm going to get a different spoon just because otherwise it'll stick to it. So 1 tablespoon of coconut sugar, and what else?
A tablespoon of coconut nectar.
Coconut nectar, or coconut syrup, 1 tablespoon of that. All right, anything else?
Yes, a teaspoon of, a teaspoon of cinnamon.
A full teaspoon of cinnamon. All right.
Did you put your cinnamon away?
Nope. All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right, that's it. So once this coconut oil gets into a liquid form, we'll go ahead and stir this together. And again, this will be the topping that we put down on each individual slice. So we'll slice it up and then put a little bit of topping on each one, put it back in the dehydrator for an hour to 2. Probably closer to 1 because of how thin we're going to slice it, hopefully, and that's it. All right, so welcome back. Here we have our loaf. It's been in there for just about an hour at 165, so it's got that nice crust on it. We did forget the raisins, so we unfortunately had to pull it out and mess it up, put the raisins in there. Again, not in the original recipe, but we added 1 cup of organic raisins, and you want to make sure that the raisins are organic, just like the apples, because raisins obviously come from grapes, which are on the Dirty Dozen. So, organic raisins, 1 cup, and you can add those in, preferably before the flaxseed as well, I would think.
Yes.
Yeah. And
You
then
should have added them with the apples.
Yep, should have probably added them in with the apples. And then if you want to show them what the topping looks like now, that's all melted and gooey
coconut,
and delicious.
The coconut oil melted nicely, and so of course the sugar and the coconut sugar and the nectar are all melted and in there with it, and it's all gooey and ready to go on top. of the bread.
I can tell by slicing this that this is going to be a more dense loaf. I think probably because of having to pull it apart and put in the raisins. It, you know, the more you manhandle the loaf or the dough, I think it gets a little bit more dense, which is not necessarily bad. It'll be interesting to see how this one tastes and compared to the other ones, but I think we're right at about 10 slices again, maybe 11.
It looks really good.
It does look really good. Smells really good too. And this is obviously a Cutco knife. I think this is the serrated bread knife, which is lovely for this. Mom is going ahead and spread the topping on each individual piece, and I'm not sure if we mentioned this before. I think we did, that the original recipe actually has you put the topping on the entire loaf and then slice it up, but we found, well, I say we, Mom found out that it's much better to do it this way. Wait to put the topping on until after you slice it up individually, and then put the topping on each little piece, and yeah, it looks really good.
Actually, Dan said he had a hard time slicing it the first time because we put the topping on top.
Oh, that's right.
And so it was harder to slice, and the slices were really thick, so we decided to do it this way. And it makes each slice like a little piece of apple pie or something.
Yeah, it really is like almost like apple pie. I'm gonna take you over here to get zoomed in on this. That looks really, really good. So we'll put the rest of that on there, and then we're gonna throw it back in the dehydrator for another hour or so, and then we've got to try it. All right, final product. They've been in there for just over an hour, and they look amazing. And we're about to taste them and let you know how they taste.
I'll wait.
Okay. All right, ready?
Yep. Really good.
Like apple pie.
French apple pie with the raisins.
Very sweet. I love the Pink Lady. Pink Lady is a little bit more tart than HoneyCrisp, but very sweet. Also the lemon on there. That is amazing. Like
Really
a very good dessert. So we're gonna save the rest of this, well, the rest of my piece for dessert. Tonight we're having kelp noodles with a cashew Alfredo, dehydrated marinated mushrooms, and dehydrated cheesy broccoli. So that's going to be amazing too. We'll probably put a picture of that on here too, just to show you guys. Maybe we'll do that recipe in a couple more videos. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up.
And try the bread.
And try the bread. Let us know how you like it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Bye.